Live from the Export Beer Garden studio and brought to you by Export Ultra, the beer for here. This is the Agenda podcast for Thursday, the 18th of July.
The Agenda podcast, the home of sporting nonsense and claptrap. Brought to you by Export Ultra.
Welcome in from Witness Protection and surrounded by horse racing paraphernalia, or memorabilia rather, G Lane. How you going?
Morning. Yeah, I'm surrounded by Azaweri, this time Rodney, three-time winner. Azaweri, five-time winner, won the Sydney Cup, apparently.
Oh,
yeah.
that sounds very official, the Sydney Cup.
Yeah, in 1984. And actually, I've got they brought out a commemorative bottle of port. See, here, to celebrate Azaweri's victory. Actually, it was 1982 it won the Sydney Cup.
And that looks like it's been enjoyed.
Yes, it's empty.
Probably for the best. State of Origin last night, so I think a few people around the country and certainly around New South Wales will be moving pretty slowly this morning. Everyone that's come into the office just off the back of maybe one too many beers last night and just, productivity's probably not quite what you'd expect it on a Thursday. It's a real week ruiner over here in New Zealand, State of Origin.
Yeah, it is, because, it wrapped up just before midnight. I stayed up and watched it. Did a sterling job with Di Henwood and Ben Hurley on the call. But it was a pretty torrid affair in that first half. 2-2. Was it 2-2 at the break?
It was. So if you didn't watch the game last night, the clock in the corner fucked out straight off the bat, and it just said 1H. So the whole commentary was like, what is this? Eventually, when they fixed it, it's the proper time flashed up and 8 minutes had elapsed of game time. And I felt like I'd been watching that game for an hour. I was like, this has been hectic. You cannot tell me this has only been 8 minutes of action, because it was frantic from the moment the first whistle went, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But they also, the clock started and then they went for a countdown clock. So then it was at 36 minutes and then it disappeared and 1H came up again. And then it came to 8 minutes. Yeah. It was hopelessly confusing. And like you're right, that consumed the commentary for the first 10 minutes, what was going on there. But it was you look at that scoreline, you go, ugh. 2-2, but it was end to end.
No, it was hectic. And it wasn't a boring 2-2. That I think if you woke up the next morning and had checked the scores, you'd have been like, oh, thank God I didn't stay up to watch it. But it was actually madness, from the start. And it was only a matter of time before one team just got so buggered that they let go of the rope. And unfortunately, that was Queensland. And they just got towed up really in that last sort of 15 minutes, didn't they?
Yeah, I know, and I put some happiness insurance. I'm a New South Wales supporter by no other reason than I've been to Sydney more times than Brisbane. But I dumped my TAB account on Queensland because I was like, they're playing at home. They never lose at Suncorp, and they turn around and they lost. But bit of Biff, good to see a bit of Biff back.
Yeah, a bit of Biff, bit of how's your father. It was very scrappy. I was actually, before the game, I knew it was going to be like that, and I thought, I wonder if there's a way I can turn this into a financial gain for myself. But I couldn't find a sin binning on the TAB. But I was like, I'm so sure. If a sin bin for both teams was an option, I was going to get on it. I also swung for the fences last night and had a 4-leg multi that was paying about $600. And
I did that too.
Yeah,
I went to the multis and then most popular ones. And I just I spread $1 on quite a few of them were like $600, $700. I was like, that's worth $1. That's worth $1. That's worth $1.
Yeah.
Hoping for a high scoring affair because it was like 4 or 5 try scorers combined into a New South Wales win, and just it blew out in the end.
I knew it was going to go low, but that's all I knew about that game. Our boy Mana Mitch gave a great account of himself for his state. Yesterday, I caught up with Tom from the Hello Sports podcast. They're big New South Welshmen. They are big on Mitch Barnett. When they heard the story, I don't know if you listened to the podcast yesterday, but when they heard the story about Mitch Barnett missing the birth of his son to hold pads at training, they were like, we've got to do something to reward him. They wanted to buy him nappies and wet wipes to the value of the amount of meters he ran, multiplied by the amount of tackles he made, multiplied by a fuckload. And that was their three metrics. So we still don't know what a fuckload is, but we now know how many tackles and meters he made. The problem we have is they don't want to just donate the money to the club because that's not really the idea.
No.
It's about the act of gift giving. But they can't fly the stuff over because now you're bringing customs into it. So I said yesterday, can we help? We get a ute. We can take it out there. What I need to figure out now is I was sort of hoping that the Blues would lose last night and this whole thing would just fall by the wayside because I've actually accidentally signed myself up for more work. But now I've got to figure out the logistics of, do we go out to Costco? Do we take our credit card and then bank on the fact that we're going to charge Hello Sport back for it?
Yeah, it's an interesting conundrum, isn't it? Like, do we ask for cash up front from Hello Sport? I mean, are they good for it? You obviously talk to them. I mean, how are the judge of character there? Are they the kind of guys who will pay up, or do we have to fly over to Sydney and some standover tactics?
I think they're good for it. I think they're men of their word. I don't know the financial situation over there at the Hello Sports podcast. I know they'd tell us that they're good for it, and I believe that when they tell us that, they believe that. But
what are we looking at?
Well,
what costs?
This is what I don't know. Obviously the fuck ton aside, I don't know how many nappies does a new parent need. Do nappies?
You go through probably 5 or 6 a day.
A day.
Yeah.
So how big's it? Because I was looking up some of the different packs you can get, and you can get big 70 packs. They're about Would they be about $30 for like a 70 pack? Does that sound about right?
I'm unsure, but yeah, the newborn ones they're quite small because the newborn ones they're just squirting constantly because they're on the mother's milk, so they're
of course
the whole time, So it's there's not a lot of body to it. It's just bum squirts, bum wheeze.
So, yeah, I guess the logistics are maybe we talk to them, we agree on a number that they're confident in, that they're good for. We take it in good faith that we use our own company credit card, head out to Costco, the warehouse, somewhere like this. They did mention that they'd reached out to Huggies and got given one of the big stiff arms of all time. From that. So, yeah, I think that's where we come in. And
okay. I'm into it. If you think they're good for it, if you can vouch for their character, Manaia, and their financial acumen, they're Australians. But if you can vouch for them, then fine, let's do it. But maybe reach a number. It's the fuckload times a fuckload that might trip us.
That's the variable.
Yeah,
that's the variable we're going to have to deal with. All right. Well, I will. I'll fire an email off and be like, look, here's what we're willing to do. What's a number you're comfortable with us? Well,
then we've got to sort out logistics of how we're going to get it to Mitch Barnett. How are we going to get? Do we just go out to Warriors training and just tip the back of the ute into the field? Do we drop it at his house? Do we drop it at the club? Because I have a sneaky suspicion that if we drop it at the club, they'll donate it to the local community and do something quite, wholesome with it.
Yeah.
Where we actually need to deliver at least some to Mitch Barnett.
He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would willingly give out his home address, would be my only concern.
Okay.
I certainly don't
want to
maybe
that's a job for the Hello Sport team, I think. They've got contacts in Sydney.
Yes, they've got contacts at the Warriors.
Yes. So there we go.
Yeah, you're right. I mentioned to them that we do have a ute, but it's got the, it's got the pull-out drawers in the back of the tray, so we actually don't have a whole lot of storage space in there. But we could potentially use the caravan.
Yeah, we could load the caravan up easy, or just get a cage trailer. I'm picking if we're going to buy $5,000 worth of nappies. It's quite a lot. It's almost a pallet.
Oh yeah, a pallet. Let's just ask Costco what a pallet costs, and then go from there. All right. Well, we'll take that offline. We'll have a tense, terse negotiation. I'll have to figure out the exchange rate with the Australian dollar as well, and we'll figure that whole thing out. They are open to coming over here and helping assist with the delivery as well.
Oh, that's good.
Pull us off. So we'll keep this ball rolling. We need to capitalise on this momentum while we can. Other big sporting news, and the reason why the podcast is a little later out this afternoon is because the All Blacks team list has been named, and Razor has gotten very, very experimental with this one, as I think we all knew he was going to.
Yeah.
Tamaiti Williams, Asafo Aumua, Fletcher Newell, Scott Barrett retains the captain's armband. Tupo Vai joins him because Tuipulotu Evans-Charlton stayed home. American dad Luke Jacobson, Ethan Blackadder both find their way onto the park to start here. Adi Savia will be at number 8. Cortez Ratima, fresh off his debut, will be
Nice.
your halfback. Damian McKenzie, it's his 50th cap for the All Blacks. He's in at first 5. Jabba the Buck, Caleb Clark's in there at 11. Anton Leonard-Brown. Billy Proctor makes his debut. Severeese and Bowden Barrett comes back into fullback. There's a raft of debutants off the bench as well. George Bell, Pasileo Tosi, Sam Darry, and Wallace Side Titties in there, plus Noah Hotham. So they're really just blooding a few new players, aren't they?
Yeah, how's Sam Darry? Sam Darry would have just been on the tear after the Super Rugby final, and all of a sudden, Patrick Tuipulotu, even Charlton One News, goes down, and he's going to make his debut for the All Blacks in California.
It sort of reminds me. Have you ever seen Blue Mountain State? It was an American show about a college football team, and it was all centered around the reserve quarterback and how he was basically just in the team just to be a college quarterback, but he didn't actually want to play any of the games. He just wanted to go to the frat houses and piss up, but the starting quarterback kept getting injured. He's like, fuck, I got to play again. I feel like that's been 2024 for Sam Darry. He's just been sort of hanging out on the bench, then all of a sudden Tuipulotu's injured again. He's like, fuck, I'm going to have to come and play every game of Super Rugby to an All Black level. And then he's like, oh, sweet, at least I can get on the piss now. Like, he's injured again. Now I got to go back in there.
Yeah, but it's great to see Side Titty in there. Great to see Cortez Ratima rewarded for his energetic 20, 30 minutes on Saturday. It's going to be good for him. This is the opportune time to blood players. Like Argentina, arguably you wouldn't want to do that against Argentina.
No, not after last year.
They've proven that. And you certainly don't want to be blooding new players in South Africa when they go over there for 2 test matches. So good to see him, throw a bit of mud at the wall.
Yeah. I don't mind it, but I kind of think if I was All Blacks coach, and perhaps this is why I'm not, I would just pick the same team every single week and be like, this is the All Black team. And it doesn't matter if we're playing the Timaru Boys High School First 15 or we're playing the Springboks. This is the team, and we go out there every game. And sorry if we beat you by 150 points to 0. But we are the All Blacks. This is the team that we play. Because I do think continuity is a big part of it. But I guess as the flip side of that injuries are very real. And when players go out, you don't want to have to then put Wallace Satiti under the bright lights.
Yeah. You've answered your own question there. That's exactly what would happen, because you can't have, Side Titty coming into Cape Town with no games under his belt to play against South Africa when Adi Savia goes down and Blackadder goes down. So I think it's good. It's a good opportunity to do that, and that's what we need to do. We need to develop our players further, and these are the perfect games to do it. Certainly don't do it against Argentina. Certainly don't do it against Australia or South Africa.
A couple of interesting points around this game, not particularly related to the team list, but one is the name of the venue that they're playing at. So they're in San Diego. It is being played at Snapdragon Stadium, one of the most powerful names that I've ever heard for a stadium. Snapdragon. They know how to do it over there. None of this Orange Theory Apollo shit.
Oh, Snapdragon. There used to be a bar in the Viaduct called Snapdragon.
Oh, really?
Can you remember that? I remember getting thrown out of there because I remember rolling up my receipt and flicking it back at the barman and hitting him in the forehead. And then him just looking at me going, get out.
Get out of here.
And quickly had to biff all my drinks. And then a guy the size of Tossi came and picked me up and sent me out the back. Not out the front, out the back. In the Viaduct, so that was even worse. I thought I was going to get my beans, but he was okay about it.
Out the back where all the chefs are smoking.
Yeah, correct.
Unlucky. And the other thing is, so this one is slated for a 2:30 start, which I quite like, the Saturday afternoon start, but we will have dueling huckers, so we're going to have to start a little bit early. I think we're going to start around the 2:15.
What are they going to do? Because are they going to respect each other's hucker, or are we going to see a hucker off?
I think
simultaneous.
Well, so what usually happens is the home team will kick theirs off first, and then about halfway through, the visitors will lay their challenge down. So you got dueling huckers going on. Who is the home team here? Is it us?
I think it's us, because it's
part of our home series.
It's still the same series.
Yeah.
It's still, so I believe it's us who are dragging the poor Fijian team all the way over to California. They'd probably quite enjoy that, hanging out in San Diego. They probably watch the Sail GP.
Yeah.
Dangerously Confused. What's going on here? But,
I feel like with the dueling haka, they know what they're coming up against. Everyone that's, the Fijian team, they know we're either going to go with the old school kamate or we had kapa o pango on the weekend.
we had it twice.
Hey? Oh, we've had it twice, yeah.
Mm.
I reckon we go back to back. I reckon we go kapa o pango straight into kamate just so that we drag it out. So we go first, then they start. They think that they're going to still be going when we finish. Just when we finish, fire up kapa o pango again.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. And then see what they respond with. And they might have come back with something else. And then someone might have to pull out a guitar and then start singing a song. And then just keep going backwards and forwards.
Yeah, at what point do we have to revert to two set of my just to keep the thing going?
I'm a big fan of that. That would throw the Fijians off because they'd expect to end it. And then all of a sudden,
but no, I am looking forward to this. Regardless, anytime you play Fiji, it's going to be an electric game, and the team that we've named as well is going to be much the same. So I'm looking forward to that. That coverage will start, as we said, at 2:15. Matty Manaia commentating that, man, Matt Ward, and
I'm taking a knee.
Yeah, look, Lane's gone to ground. He's been stood down. It's the no-fault stand-down policy that we have here at the ACC. I think this might be the third time you've invoked it this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been quite a productive year. Yeah. But look, don't forget, James McConey will also take a knee, but I mean, his knee is in Paris right now, so he's got an excuse.
Well, yours may be too, for all we know, at the in witness protection there. Let's take a quick break before we incriminate ourselves any further. But before we do, I just wanted to remind everyone about the Snackachangi Sports Scholarship, where binge watching is a sport. Binge watching sport, that is. To enter for the Snackachangi Sports Scholarship, all you have to do is text CHIP to 3236, follow the link, and you could be in to win the ultimate ACC prize pack. We're talking, obviously, Snackachangi chips, a boatload of them. We'll give you some refreshments.
A few beverages, a bit of merch.
Something to wash it down. A little bit of merch and everything that you need to enjoy your weekend on the couch watching your sport. So again, Snackachangi Sports Scholarship, text CHIP to 3236. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors. Okay, Lane, it is Thursday, and so as we have done every Thursday, we're going to a Throwback Thursday. This is a segment where we go through the team list from back in the day, and today I'd like to walk you back to 1997. We're at North Harbour Stadium. It's Saturday the 14th of June, 7:30 p.m. Back when they used to play test matches at North Harbour Stadium. It is the All Blacks versus Fiji. It will surprise you not at all to learn that we won this one 71 points to 5. An absolute dusting. Here's the team. So this is a couple of years after that 95 World Cup that was immortalised in the John Alomu rugby game.
Yeah.
But a lot of those names still in there. The coach was John Hart, of course. And at fullback was Christian Cullen.
Yes.
Who scored 2 tries and hit 2 conversions as well for 14 points.
Did he kick goals? I can't remember him kicking goals.
I don't remember it either, but apparently he kicked 2 of them. Once you're up over 50 points, it's like, fuck, whoever scored it, you just turn around and convert it. Jeff Wilson was on one wing, and it was a fruitful afternoon for Jeff Wilson. Goldie scored 5 tries in this game.
Oh, brutal.
Powerful stuff. Frank Bunce was your centre, and his second 5 inside him was Lee Stensness.
Stensness.
Yeah. So was that, is Walter Little gone by then? Must have been.
Or injured. I think he was still around.
Yeah, okay.
Good Bunce and Little in North Harbour Stadium would have been a sight to see. I was just thinking that would have been almost a brand spanking new North Harbour Stadium back then.
Yeah, 97.
Yeah, that would have been fairly new, I'd say.
Yeah, and now they're thinking about bowling it. Tana Umanga was still on the wing at that point. He scored a try. Andrew Mertens, who is listed under a South African flag on the website that I've found.
I think that's where their birth, that's their place of birth, because I looked at the Fijians, the number of New Zealanders playing for Fiji as well.
Yeah, there are. Anyway, he slotted 6 conversions. Justin Marshall was your halfback, and he also scored himself a try. Tane Randall showed out in the fingerless gloves as well. At the back of the scrum, Josh Kronfeld and Michael Jones rounding out a powerful loose forward trio.
That is good. Michael Jones.
tremendous. He dotted down for a meat pie as well. Seems just about everyone did. Robin Brooke and Ian Jones, the Camo Kid, were your locks. Olo Brown, Sean Fitzpatrick, and Craig Dude were your front
old
row.
school.
Yeah.
Old school front row.
Olo Brown, Sean Fitzpatrick, Craig Brown. Dowd, Anton Oliver was coming off the bench alongside Bull Allen. Charles Reichelman.
Yep.
I don't recall him.
No, he's Auckland player. Played blindside and lock as well. Big unit, big man. I think he was on the Match Fit recently, on the Match Fit program. A big unit.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, he got himself a meat pie in that game as well. Mark Carter, Ofisa Tanu'u, and Scott McLeod round out what on my sheet is a 6-man bench. So they've left 2 names off this team sheet.
They didn't need him.
They didn't need him. I'll spare you the Fijian team, although one name that I did want to call out was Api Naivo, who's the blindside flanker, who's also a lock as well. I think he plied his trade over there in Europe. But he had a massive 2003 and then 2007 World Cup. And on the rugby PlayStation games, he had the speed of a winger, like the speed rating for whatever. I don't know if it was a glitch or what, but it was like when you were picking your teams, you had to get up in Naivo because he could run like Doug Howlett in that game.
There's a couple of names in there though. Felipe Raiasi, which is the father of Salesi Raiasi. He's at fullback.
Yep.
For Fiji. And there's another couple on the bench which I recognise. Well, hooker is Greg Smith, who used to play for Waikato as hooker. And Big Bill Kabavati. Remember Big Bill? 150 kgs. He's currently a doorman in Wellington at the moment.
Oh, is he?
Big Bill Kabavati. And Nicky Little.
I remember Little Nicky.
Yeah, Little Nicky out of Te Ao Mutu Sports. As well, there's kind of three kind of players or 4 players that I recognise there in that team, but they got a real toweling that day. Jesus.
Yeah, they did 71-5. I mean, I was looking back through all of the games that we've played against Fiji. It's actually not that many. I think there's 12 or 13 times that we've played them. They've never won, but the closest they got was about 3 years ago. We played them over here. And I think we beat them 53 to 20 something. So
I think they'll be a lot tougher than what people think. Obviously, they've had a couple of seasons of Super Rugby under their belt with the Drua.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, if it's got any sort of backing to this theory, but obviously the Sevens was a big thing for them all throughout the kind of 90s and early 2000s, and they never really cracked a 15 game. They would overperform at Rugby World Cups, but it was almost a style. They played a style of sevens with 15 players.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see how the national team comes together after the Drua. I reckon they're going to go pretty well because you see them Drua playing at home, and you transplant that into international footy. It's going to be difficult, but they're playing away, so who knows? But I don't think it certainly won't be a 71-point drubbing.
No, but I do. Yeah, like all Super Rugby, it's all we've been talking about with the Drua is I love the fact that they are who they are and they won't change it. It doesn't matter if they're playing in Nandi, Lautoka, if they're playing in San Diego, if they're playing in fucking Dunedin, and they're down by 40 points, they will run it out of their own try line and try and score from everywhere. And I love a team that knows what they are. So if they're trying to advertise the game, they couldn't have picked a better team to send over there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one as well. Changing tack a little bit here, the Open Championship, the most confusingly named sporting tournament, is kicking off overnight tonight, our time. Is that right?
Yeah.
And over there in Scotland at Royal Troon Golf Club, there are 4 Kiwis in the field. It's the first time that it's happened since 2009 or something, back when Michael Campbell was knocking about. They are, off the top of my head, Ryan Fox, obviously. Kazumi, why is his last name escaping me? We've got Michael Hendry and Daniel Hillier. And it's going to be exciting to watch those guys go around. Also terrifying that Ryan Fox is playing in the Olympics, and that's only another couple of weeks away. We keep saying, man, these things are running way too close to the Olympics. Like these tournaments.
I mean, But I guess that's what they do. They just roll around. They'll finish this one and they'll just roll into Paris, which is just a hop on like a 2-hour flight maybe.
Yeah, true.
From Scotland. So it'll be fine. But Daniel Hillier, we've got our hunch on him making the top 40. And the only reason I've gone with that hunch is obviously Dan Hillier had a good run last year. He won the British Open at the Belfry last year. Remember, he won by 2 shots, kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I've got to, he loves the conditions over there. I'm picking him to crack the top 40. I was going to go for a vibe punt on Foxy, but he hasn't been playing overly well recently. But he's back in Europe, where he kind of is more comfortable, I guess, over the last few years. But yeah, Dan Hillier, we've got a hundy on him. That's the hunch to him to make the top 40. You can bet on all sorts on the Open. There's so many options. You can bet on the top New Zealander. You can bet on the top Australian, the top South African, the top Japanese player. You can go nationalities. You can group them together. The new TAB app, you can go. There's a massive deep dive on the options when it comes to golf, which I never knew existed.
No, I love that. And I'd love for the TAB to open up a few more like guess who type markets, like any bald player to finish top 40 or... those kind of things. Any man with a mustache to make the cut on day 2 or whatever. I'd love for them to lean into that kind of stuff. I suppose it's hard to put those markets together because what does qualify a mustache? But anyway, that's our punt. I can't believe it's $8 for him to make the top 40.
Yeah, well, winning a British Open last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, look here. I don't know if he's made the cut a few of the last few events, so he'll have to play out of his skin.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if you watched any of the social media of the players practicing out of the bunkers there.
No,
they're like about 2 meters high. There's one where I think it's DeChambeau is practicing getting out from being at the base of a 2 meter just vertical bunker, and him getting it out. I'd hit it the other way. I'd hit it back onto the fairway.
Well, I thought you meant you're almost better facing away from the bunker and trying to hit it back up over your own head.
Yeah, it's intense. It's intense. And remember that famous Michael Campbell shot? I think it's St Andrews that he managed to get out of one of those kind of 2 meter bunkers.
I think
good stuff. I'll be up all night.
The gap between the professional golfer and the amateur golfer, like just the hack golfer, is so ridiculous because I've always said that, I could play back and forth along a rugby field and I'd shoot the same as if I went around to, your local your local course. The hard part is not negotiating the course, it's negotiating my horrible swing. And so then for these guys to make it interesting to have to put 2 meter bunkers in front of them is fucking, I don't know. Yeah. It's unrelatable. I think if you put me in one of those, I'd never get out. If it was like, if you were like, you're in the bunker, you can't go back out, you have to go over the wall. I think I'd die of old age before I got out of there.
That's a good challenge then. Let's find a golf course that has a bunker as steep as one of those.
Yeah.
And sit you at the bottom of it. We'll put a time-lapse camera on you and see how long it takes you to get out.
Yeah, we need something to happen, something that I'm racing against. I honestly think if a pro started off the first tee, he could probably finish his round before I got out of the bunker.
And you're on the 18th.
And I'm on the 18th in the bunker, and all I have to do is get out. And I don't even have to... Yeah, would it be strokes? So I've basically got 70 shots to try and get out of this bunker before he comes around and tells me up. That would be quite a good wee challenge. All right.
That would be good.
We'll try and tee that one up. All right, let's take one last break. When we come back, we'll hit you with yours, please.
Yours, please. Brought to you by Leader, home of the lasagna topper.
Your chance to get involved in the show by pressing the microphone button in the bottom right-hand corner of your iHeartRadio app, just like this caller has. Caller, yours, please.
Fellas, it's almost 3:30 in the Arvo, and there's no daily agenda for the 17th of July 2024. Is it just because Manaia's on the late shift? Just put in a double shift. Backbone. It's only the state of origin. Come on, I need someone to listen to. Oh, hurry up. Cheers. Yeah, get him behind.
I like that. And I'm sorry we kept you waiting. Yeah, it was a little bit later than usual yesterday. We had a few things to juggle around. We wanted to go and go down to the cricket thing yesterday where they launched the Summer of Cricket because we wanted to know what the schedule was.
Yep.
Before that, and then also we had to line up with Tom from Hello Sport But good to know. It's a good problem to have that people are hanging out and waiting for their agenda podcast because, there'd be nothing worse than not putting one out one day and no one gave a shit.
Yeah, that would be disheartening.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for your service.
Appreciate the feedback. And again, today it'll be a little bit later, but again, it's just because we wanted to talk about the All Blacks team. So
Yeah.
we had to wait for that. But it'll be on time tomorrow, trust me. We've taken your feedback on board. One last caller here. We only got the two this afternoon. Caller, yours, please.
Hey boys, glad everyone's on the Fuck South Canterbury bandwagon. I've been on the fucking Fuck South Canterbury bandwagon for a long time now. I'm a Nasbro East Coast supporter, and it hit boiling point for me last year when South Canterbury arrogantly turned their backs on the East Coast haka in their semi-final. Big standoff, and then Nasbro East Coast nearly got in the shit for fucking going over the 10-metre line. Cultural protocols suggest never turn your back on a haka, mate.
I don't really have a memory of this. I did look it up this morning. The only footage I can find is of two very heated huckers going back and forth at each other. I might have been watching the wrong game. This one was at Pleasant Point, so a home game for South Canterbury. South Canterbury versus NPEC, Ngāti Porou East Coast, is, I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think it is the longest distance travelled for a rugby game in the country because there's no airport near either of those teams.
Yeah.
So South Canterbury have to drive to Christchurch, which is 3 hours, then fly probably to Wellington, and then it's probably another 8-hour bus trip over to the East Coast. So it is
That's brutal.
It is brutal. And then, obviously the same the other way back. And then obviously, as he mentioned, there's a few cultural differences, a lot more seafood banging around the MPEC region.
Yeah, I was wondering the start of that message. I was like, what's the beef? What kind of beef have East Coast got with, and then he laid it out quite clearly.
Yeah. Well, look, thankfully, and this is the great thing about sport, is there's always another chance. And there will be another chance this season after a grueling bus trip from one of the two teams, to set things straight, get your vengeance. Unfortunately, no one's had their vengeance over South Canterbury in quite some time. But this could be your chance for Ngāti Porou East Coast, but at least we know we've got one order already of the Fuck South Canterbury Social Club jersey.
I was about to say, and it sounds like he'd do quite a few sales for us. Maybe we can start up like a kind of Tupperware franchise thing where we can give him the sub franchise to East Coast, Ngāti Porou, and he can just farm out all the Fuck South Canterbury merch.
Yeah.
That could be a way to go. I think a pyramid Fuck South Canterbury scheme is our way to riches, I think.
Multi-level marketing, Lane. We wouldn't be involved in a pyramid scheme.
Let's just call it what it is.
I did try and set up when I was working in promos at Hodaki. I tried to set up the Hodaki pyramid scheme, which was basically it was a prize that you won, but you won a prize for every other person that you recruited to listen to Radio Hodaki.
Oh, yeah.
I think where pyramid schemes fall apart is someone crunched the numbers. It's you could only ever have 100 levels to it, and then you've got every person in the world on your pyramid scheme, so financially it doesn't quite add up. I'll have to do a bit more research into the numbers of a pyramid scheme, but perhaps maybe a Ponzi scheme might be a bit closer to what we need to be doing. But anyway.
Yeah, Ponzi sounds sexier as well.
Ponzi sounds very sexy. I worked with a man on home detention who explained Ponzi schemes to me. On a dairy farm. He explained to me how I could run a Ponzi scheme at university. He had the ankle bracelet on his leg. We're on a dairy farm. We only had one motorbike. And so if the cows were in the back paddock, he would drive me on the back of the motorbike until his ankle started beeping. Then I'd have to jump off and walk the rest of the way to bring the cows in, which on a 34-degree South Canterbury day is brutal.
Oh, yeah. Well, I played cricket. Last man stands with a gentleman in I think I might have told you, in the Domain, and he was fielding at gully, and he had long pants on, and we didn't see the fact he was wearing an ankle bracelet, and someone carved it through gully, and it slammed into his ankle, and he went to the ground, and then got up and just ran to the car and took off, and we were like, "What's going on there?" And he goes, "Oh, the ball snapped his ankle bracelet off. It hit side and snapped it, so it was going off. So they presumed he'd He tried to detach it, so he had to report to his parole officer ASAP. So they only played with 7 players for the rest of the game. And there was bits of an ankle bracelet all over the outfield.
I thought you were going to say that he just lived over the back fence, so he could only field at gully. He couldn't go around to the other.
That would be quite funny.
Couldn't go around to the other side.
So as soon as he went to the boundary, it started beeping.
Yeah, really dictates the way you get a bowl. Because you got one guy stuck on home detention in the cow corner. Anyway, I reckon it's about time for you to go and check in with your parole officer. And
yes, I've got my court appearance tomorrow, so Matt Heath is going to be on the agenda tomorrow, and I'll be back. I think I've been given clearance to come out of witness protection this weekend, so I'll be back with you in the studio on Monday.
Brilliant. Look forward to it. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow for another episode of the Agenda Podcast.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda Podcast, brought to you by Export Ultra. For more episodes, like and follow on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.